I would love to go against the winner of Canelo and Crawford, Canelo, because he was my idol. There's always respect for everyone, but I have to try. Why not? I feel that I can do it to get a world title in boxing. Let's go Turkish. This guy, how's his name? The Turkish?
Turkey or whatever?
Turkey, yeah.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Ilia Topuria has sent a clear warning message to boxing's pound-for-pound king Terence Crawford, claiming he would put him to sleep. And we're talking about in a boxing ring, not the octagon. And second, Crawford himself has made a shocking pick for who he believes is the best boxer in the entire UFC roster. And trust me, you're not going to see this one coming. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into what could be the next mega fight crossover that has everyone talking.
You are going to see me at 155 that I'm going to touch someone and I'm going to take his lights out. I don't need to touch his chin. I just touch his head and it will explode. I feel so powerful at that weight class, so stable in the ground. Like, do you want to wrestle? Let's wrestle. No problem. And I have the gas tank for 5 days, not 5 rounds.
Let's start with the bombshell that dropped this weekend. Ilia Topuria, the undefeated UFC lightweight champion, has officially put Terence Crawford on notice ahead of Crawford's blockbuster fight against Canelo Alvarez this Saturday. But here's where it gets interesting. Topuria isn't just talking about what would happen in an octagon. No. La Leyenda is making claims about what would happen in a boxing ring. In a post on social media, Topuria wrote, and I quote, "I won't talk about what would happen between me and Crawford in an octagon. I'll talk about what would happen in a ring. I put him to sleep on first contact."
Who were your favorite fighters coming up?
We liked a lot Canelo. Canelo was, and it's one of my favorite athletes. Yeah, I learned so much from him.
Why Canelo? Technical skills?
Technical skills. I learned, like, we were watching his videos, his training footage, like everything. And we were trying to copy that, to repeat that. He inspired us a lot.
Canelo Alvarez praises Ilia Topuria for mimicking his style, showing the world his eyes are on Crawford and not the rising star. Canelo Alvarez is preparing for what is expected to be one of the biggest boxing events in recent history, a showdown with Terence Crawford. However, in a press conference leading up to this much-anticipated clash, Canelo was asked about another potential matchup, this time against Ilia Topuria. His response, though casual, caught the attention of many fans and pundits. Canelo, despite not being overly familiar with Topuria's full fight resume, expressed genuine admiration for him. The Mexican legend praised Topuria, stating that he loved, respected, and admired the fighter for incorporating aspects of Canelo's own fighting style into his own game. However, Canelo, ever the focused professional, made it clear that his eyes were firmly set on Crawford, as he emphasized the need to first address the task at hand before thinking of any future bouts.
Para mí es un honor que obviamente agarren un poco de mi boxeo. También mis respetos para todos. Y lo de la pelea, bueno, ya veremos después.
Now, for those who don't know Topuria's background, this isn't just some random fighter talking trash. This man is currently 17-0 in MMA with a perfect 9-0 UFC record. He's dominated with his high-level boxing skills and absolutely devastating power. Just look at his resume. He won and defended the UFC featherweight title by scoring historic knockouts over Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. Then he vacated that belt, moved up to lightweight, and knocked out Charles Oliveira in the first round to claim the vacant UFC lightweight championship this past June. The man is regarded as the best pound-for-pound fighter in MMA today, and he's backing up every single claim he makes inside that octagon. But here's the thing, Crawford isn't exactly a pushover. We're talking about a guy who's 41-0 with 31 knockouts, the undisputed welterweight champion, and he's looking to become the first undisputed welterweight champion in 3 different weight classes when he faces Canelo. Now, let's talk about the reality of this potential matchup. Photos from when Topuria met Crawford at the UFC Performance Institute back in June show their relative sizes. And here's what's interesting.
Presenting the star of boxing and pound for pound great. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former lightweight world champion, the former undisputed 140-pound world champion, and the current undefeated, reigning and defending WBO welterweight champion of the world, introducing Terence Crawford.
Crawford, similar to Topuria, originally fought at 147 pounds before moving up to 154. But now he's facing Canelo at 168 pounds, meaning he's actually gotten bigger than El Matador. The fans' reactions have been, let's say, mixed. Some are saying Topuria needs to be humbled, with comments like, Crawford buy whatever he wants and keep dreaming, buddy. Others are pointing out that while Topuria would dominate in MMA, the advantage completely shifts in a pure boxing match.
If I prepare for 6 months, like only boxing, I don't do anything about wrestling, about grappling, whatever. Only boxing, bro, put me whoever you want in front of me. Whoever. And I hear a lot of guys talking about like boxers. No, Ilia, he has a good boxing but for MMA, but he has nothing to do with me in the boxing ring. I'm like, listen, you don't have anything to do with me outside, inside, whatever you want. Like, what you want to do. I know how good I am in boxing. I train every day boxing, every day. That's part of my life.
But here's where it gets really spicy. Some fans are starting to believe him. One fan wrote, the level of confidence to say that you're going to knock out the greatest boxer of our generation in one contact is savage stuff. I believe Ilia can do it because he predicts things unbelievably and his power is out of this world. And you know what? Topuria has backed up every bold prediction he's made so far. The guy has a track record of talking big and then delivering when it counts. But wait, there's more. While Topuria is calling out Crawford, Crawford himself was asked recently about UFC fighters, and his answer has the MMA world scratching their heads.
Ilia Topuria wants to continue following in Conor McGregor's footsteps. The lightweight champion would like to move up and fight the winner of Canelo and Crawford.
Did it with Conor. Why not with me? I would love to go to boxing. I would love to go against the winner of Canelo and Crawford.
Is Topuria biting off more than he can chew, or is this something that could possibly happen in the near future?
On the Full Send podcast, Crawford was asked who he believes is the best pure boxer in the UFC. Now, you'd probably expect him to say Ilia Topuria, right? Maybe Max Holloway, Jack Della Maddalena? Nope. Crawford's pick? Cody Garbrandt. That's right, the former bantamweight champion who's currently on a 2-fight losing streak and has lost 7 of his last 10 fights. Crawford said, and I quote, Cody Garbrandt is the best boxer in the UFC. Cody got them hands. We are talking about straight boxing. I think Cody has the best boxing skills in the UFC, in my opinion.
Who do you watch in the UFC that you think?
My guy, what's his name?
You seen Topuria's? Cody Garbrandt?
Yeah, he the best. He the best UFC boxer.
Have you seen Topuria? Have you seen his fights recently?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Cody got them hands.
Cody's not, like, I'm not shitting on him, but he's not on the...
But I'm saying, we talking about straight boxing.
Straight boxing?
Yeah, we ain't talking about nothing else. We talking about straight boxing skills. I just think Cody got the best boxing skills, you know, in UFC. That's just my opinion.
Now, to be fair to Crawford, Garbrandt was absolutely phenomenal in his prime. His performance against Dominic Cruz at UFC 207 was a masterclass. He became the first fighter to truly solve Cruz's awkward style with crisp, clean boxing. But fans were not having it. Comments ranged from, I don't think he watches the UFC anymore, to I love Cody, but what? Many fans pointed out that while Garbrandt had skills, his durability has been questioned with multiple knockout losses, while Topuria is literally undefeated and knocking out Hall of Fame level competition. The timing is also interesting. This comes right after Topuria called out Crawford, so you can imagine how El Matador feels about being overlooked. Now let's talk about the real reason these callouts are happening, the money.
He going to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, and letting him know that I was interested in fighting Canelo. And him and a lot of people, at first, they was like, nah, he's too big. You need to, you know, focus on your weight class and things like that. But at the time, I'm like, well, there's no one at my weight class that's on that level of Canelo. You know, Canelo comes from a smaller weight class. He's not a massive fighter. 6 foot tall. He's, you know, he's thick, but he's not giant. Picking Canelo was a thing that we looked deeply into.
Crawford is reportedly making between $10 to $50 million for his fight with Canelo. depending on pay-per-view numbers and back-end deals. Meanwhile, even the most popular UFC champions are lucky to make $5 to $10 million for their biggest fights. So you can see why Topuria is interested. He's following the Conor McGregor playbook: build up a boxing crossover fight and make generational wealth. But here's the wild card: Saudi Arabia's involvement. Turki Al-Sheikh, who's been making massive moves in combat sports, has been mentioned by Topuria himself. The Georgian-Spanish fighter said, "Let's go, Turki Al-Sheikh. I would love it, and it would be a great experience." If the Saudis want this fight, they have the power and money to make it happen, regardless of what the UFC or boxing promoters initially think.
Got direction. I don't want either one of you guys to get hurt. That's been awesome. Thank you guys. There you go. Yeah.
So what happens next? Well, first we have Crawford versus Canelo this Saturday, September 13th at Allegiant Stadium. That fight will determine a lot about Crawford's future and whether he'll be interested in these crossover opportunities. Topuria, meanwhile, is expected to make his first lightweight title defense sometime next year. His brother Alexander is fighting at UFC Qatar in November, so Ilia will likely wait until after that. But make no mistake, this story is far from over. Topuria has never backed down from a challenge. Crawford is always looking for big fights, and the money is absolutely massive for both sides.
You know, that fight has me like second guessing how well Islam's going to do. Now, I think Islam's going to win, but and the reason why I say that is because, look, not only am I just biased because he's an AKA guy, but I want you guys to think about this. JDM said it himself. People think that he's going to take me down and submit me. And if you're saying that, then whether you're saying it just in like, hey, that's what people think, you've thought it yourself. And so he's going to be extremely focused on stopping, Islam's takedowns. But they're not going to be the same type of takedowns that Bilal shoots. They're not going to be the same type of takedowns that Gilbert Burns shoots. They're going to be a little bit more effortless. They're going to be a little bit more, in the clinch inside a phone booth.
A major warning from one of MMA's most respected coaches, bold predictions from UFC analysts, and everything you need to know about the highly anticipated UFC 322 welterweight title fight. UFC 322 is shaping up to be one of the biggest cards of the year, headlined by Islam Makhachev's ambitious move up to welterweight to challenge champion Jack Della Maddalena. But recent comments from both camps suggest this fight might be closer than many expected. Let's dive right in.
I think this week, and he broke down that he believes Islam's stand-up is a little bit easier to deal with than Bilal's because Islam has more of a traditional style for his stand-up. Do you feel like people are kind of missing some of the X factors that Islam brings with his striking?
If he's saying that, I hope that he goes in believing that, because when he gets in there with Islam, you're going to find out a whole different story because I'm sorry, they're completely different. And by no means is Islam an easy for anybody on the stand-up. No, so any MMA fighter that's a striker, that's not going to have an easy time with him. I've been with this kid like going on 11 years, watching him just destroy everybody on the stand-up, guys that are much better stand-up than him, and he still destroys them. So, no. Don't go by what you see. When you get in there with that man, it's a whole different ballgame.
We start tonight with breaking news from the Makhachev camp. Legendary coach Javier Mendes has sent a clear warning message that's turning heads throughout the MMA community. For the first time in his coaching relationship with Islam Makhachev, Mendes is taking an unprecedented approach to fight preparation. In a recent interview with Submission Radio, Mendes made a stunning admission. "I've never watched a tape for an Islam fight. Never. This is the first time because I respect this guy that much, and he's a puzzle. He's not that easy. I'm telling you, he's not that easy. We'll get him, but he's not that easy, and I have to be confident that we'll get him."
Wow. I never watched tape by Islam fight. Never. This is the first time because I respect this guy that much, and he's a puzzle. He's not that easy. I'm telling you, he's not that easy. So we'll get him. I believe we'll get him, but he's not that easy.
We'll think about that for a moment. This is the same coach who guided Khabib Nurmagomedov to an undefeated career and has overseen Makhachev's dominant 12-fight win streak. Yet for the first time ever, he's felt compelled to study tape on an opponent. This speaks volumes about the respect and concern the Makhachev camp has for Jack Della Maddalena. Mendes' warning isn't just coach speak. It's a genuine acknowledgement that Della Maddalena presents unique challenges that require special preparation. The fact that a coach of Mendes' caliber is breaking his routine shows just how seriously they're taking this Australian champion.
Islam at any weight does great. Obviously at 170 is going to be an adjustment, but Islam's a big boy, and he's going to settle into the 170 weight class fine. JDM is a freaking terror, man. His hands, his ability to go head and body. It's a tough fight for anybody. I think JDM obviously winning the title, the first title defense is kind of that litmus test for a guy. Does that belt being on your shoulder, around your waist, on your mantle, does it give you the type of confidence where you feel like you're invincible, or does it add a crazy amount of pressure where now you fight not to lose instead of fight to win? So I think that's my perspective on it. But I think Islam at 170 is going to be just as dominant as he was at 155. That's my personal take. He's a hard puzzle to solve, man. He is a strangler, and he is a strong dude, and his hands are getting much, much better. So we've continued to see him improve over the years, and I think Islam wins it at 170.
But Mendes isn't just issuing warnings, he's also revealing what he believes will be Islam's key to victory at welterweight. According to the veteran coach, Makhachev possesses a physical attribute that even surpasses his legendary teammate Khabib Nurmagomedov. I think the biggest thing on our side is that he's very strong. Very strong. He's super, super strong. Out of all my lightweights, he is the strongest one out of all of them. I don't recall one lightweight stronger than him. Not even close. He's the strongest.
I think the biggest thing on our side is he's very, very strong. Very strong. So, yes, he's super, super strong. Out of all my lightweights, he is the strongest one out of all of them. I don't recall one lightweight stronger than him. Not even close. He's the strongest. So,
this is a remarkable statement when you consider that Mendes has coached some of the most physically dominant fighters in MMA history, including Khabib. To say that Makhachev is stronger than any lightweight he's ever worked with, including the Eagle himself, is significant praise. But why is this strength so crucial for the welterweight move? Mendes explains, out of everybody I have, he's the guy that has the best opportunity to handle the strength of the bigger guys.
So out of everybody I have, he's the guy that has the best opportunity to be able to handle the strength of the bigger guys.
The size jump from lightweight to welterweight is substantial. Fighters at 170 pounds are naturally bigger, stronger, and more physically imposing. Many doubted whether Makhachev could handle this transition, but his coach's confidence in his pupil's raw strength suggests they've found the key to competing with the welterweight elite. While the Makhachev camp exudes confidence, not everyone in the MMA community is backing the former lightweight champion. UFC analyst and former fighter Din Thomas has made a bold prediction that's sending shockwaves through the sport.
Before we end round one, a few weeks ago, I was calling the fight, and it said, mute DC's mic. And Jack Della Maddalena actually was the one to retweet. Did you see that?
I saw that. I'm like, yo, man, what's up with this cat?
So what's up with Jack? So I just texted Far Jack. I go, Jack, wrong, bruh. What's up? Why, Jack? Why? And Jack Della wrote back, the champ. The champ just wrote back, my bad, DC. It was a bad take. Listen, so hats up to the boy Jack Della Maddalena for responding to me when I said that. But I said, yo, Jack, what's up, baby? I've always been respectful. You go, my bad, DC. Bad take.
Yeah, man, I don't like that, DC. You know how I feel about these dudes disrespecting the champ.
Thomas is picking Jack Della Maddalena to defeat Islam Makhachev at UFC 322, and his reasoning centers around one key factor, Craig Jones. He's a breath of fresh air, and I'm with Brady on this one. I'm picking him to beat Islam. I think that Craig Jones is the answer to this. I think Craig Jones's approach to MMA and using jiu-jitsu for MMA is the answer.
Yeah. But he's a breath of fresh air, and I'm with Brady on this one. I'm picking him to beat Islam.
Wow.
I'm picking him to beat Islam. I think that Craig Jones is the answer in this. I think Craig Jones's approach to MMA and using jiu-jitsu for MMA.
For those unfamiliar, Craig Jones is a world-renowned Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner who's been working closely with Della Maddalena on his grappling game. Thomas believes Jones has developed a unique approach that could neutralize Makhachev's legendary wrestling. Thomas elaborated, "I think the answer lies within Craig Jones's approach of blending in a jiu-jitsu style that these guys aren't familiar with. We've seen it when Alexander Volkanovski fought Islam, and we've seen it when Jack fought Bilal."
I don't think that works. I think the answer lies within Craig Jones's approach of blending in a jiu-jitsu style that these guys aren't familiar with. And we've seen it when Alexander Volkanovski fought Islam, and now we've seen it when Jack fought Bilal.